Hello, this is John Squared, and today I will be reviewing Sony's WI-1000X earphone. The Sony WI-1000X is a neckband type noise-cancelling earphone from Sony. The 1000 series debuted last year with the MDR-1000X, and now the WI-1000X is the neckband SKU from Sony's second generation 1000 series. First off, the main band itself is made out of aluminum, and the area that touches the back of your neck is made up of plush leather like you get on the headbands of headphones. The left-right part is made out of plastic. The earphones come out from the base of the wings and can be pushed into the grooves for storage. There are controls on the wings. On the right, there is noise cancellation, ambient off toggle button. On the left are power, volume, and music control buttons. This earphone supports Bluetooth 4.1, aptX HD, and LDAC codec. It also supports NFC, but unfortunately you cannot switch between devices without disconnecting. There is a bit of white noise which may be noticeable in quiet environments, but it is not strong enough to disturb you while listening to music, even at low volumes. The reference earphones that I'll be using are a pair of ER4Bs with a bit of low bass boost due to its accurate representation of the diffuse field target. However, some people may feel that it is a bit treble heavy for their liking, so please take that into consideration. The big thing about sound that I should talk about before going into details is that this earphone has a built-in 5-band EQ plus bass adjust. The EQ settings are stored in the earphone and carries on to different devices, even without the headphone app once you set it up. So since I consider this a part of the earphone, I will give you opinions on both before and after the EQ adjustments. The bass is emphasized a lot and is quite strong to the point of being overwhelming for me, but doesn't have much roll-off in the sub-bass areas, and many people may enjoy the strong bass. The low mids are still emphasized, though not as much as the bass. The mids to low highs is low in volume, so vocals may sound a bit muted and a bit dark due to the fundamentals being emphasized and the harmonics being suppressed. The high and the very highs are slightly emphasized compared to the mid-range, but not nearly as emphasized as the bass, and the treble extension is okay, with only a bit of roll-off in the extreme highs. I did not notice any harshness with peaks dips in the sound. In short, it is a V-sounding earphone with a strong emphasis on bass, mid-bass, and a bit of treble. With EQ tuning, if you're not a fan of strong bass, you can reduce it with the reduction of Sony Clear Bass in the Sony app options, and it will help out a lot with the strong bass. However, this does seem to make the bass roll off. Also, increasing the mid-highs a bit will allow you to get a more flat and brighter sound. There did not seem to be any distracting peaks or dips while listening to music. Due to there being no big anomalies, it is very tunable and will be possible to tune the sound to suit a variety of people with different preferences for sound, except for the slight niggle of the bass rolling off when reduced. There is minimal microphonics since there isn't anywhere for the cable to snag onto. There are other options such as the VPT surround and audio location settings, but these settings were not too appealing since all of the settings had a lot of reverb, muddling the sound, and also changed the frequency response a lot, not preserving the original sound signature. The main reason that people will be looking into this earphone will be active noise cancelling, so it is a very important factor. The noise cancelling will be compared to ER4s with Shure or Westone tips and the MDR-1000X, so I may have a very high standard for good noise cancellation, and also ear shape may be negatively affecting the performance, so please do take my opinion with a grain of salt. There is a noise cancelling optimizer that sounds a signal out to the headphones and uses two mics to optimize the noise cancelling for the environment. This is imperative to usage, especially with aftermarket ear tips, as using this feature improves noise cancellation significantly. The only problem with the noise cancellation is the standard supplied ear tips. These basic ear tips, both the silicone and triple comforts, didn't isolate too well compared to Comply or other high-end foam tips, and while it still has good bass and high isolation, this results in suboptimal isolation performance, especially in the mid-range, and cannot block out too much of people chattering or mumbling. So when using the WI-1000X, if noise cancelling is a priority, aftermarket ear tips with good passive isolation is a must. Please do note that foam tips have to be changed regularly, and this may get expensive if done frequently. When the ear tips are changed to Comply Audio Pros, the noise cancelling is amazing and in some areas even better than the MDR 1000X's, which were the best active noise cancelling I have had yet. The noise cancellation in the bass areas are phenomenal, and it will erase any low-pitched bus or subway HVAC noises from the environment, and there will only be a hint of very low bass slap. This is very impressive considering this is the area where many passive earphones fail to do well. The mid-range is not affected too much with not isolating tips, and the highs are not affected by noise cancellation. The mid-highs really depend on what ear tips you have, since it relies heavily on passive isolation, and the ANC only works well with passively sealed tips, and doesn't do much in the highs. The batteries last 10 hours but take 3.5 hours of charge as claimed by Sony. There is quick charging, and 15 minutes of charging results in 75 minutes of playback, but for heavy listeners, this may not be enough. In conclusion, out of the box, the Sony WI-1000X may be a bit bass heavy, and the complementary tips offers limited noise isolation in the mid to highs. However, with some tweaks and a set of good aftermarket foam tips, the Sony WI-1000X offers great sounds and great noise cancelling. It is highly recommended for people who are in noisy environments or want noise isolation coupled with good sound. Thank you for watching, and this was John Squared.